Mazda likes to sprinkle a little bit of excitement into all of its models, from its MX-5 to its CX-5, but this is the CX-60, a big SUV that looks to take on the luxury side of the market. So that means taking on the likes of the BMW X3s and the Audi Q5s of the world. So does that mean Mazda has put all of that sporty stuff aside and just focused on luxury? Well, not exactly. But Mazda does offer this in a plug-in hybrid, as well as regular petrol and diesel variants, so that does prove that they are willing to play ball in order to compete. So, can it compete with the likes of BMW and Audi? Well, I'd say with this big, chunky, good-looking schnoz that says, "Oh, look at me," I'd say it's off to a good start. Now, first off, I just want to make a point of saying that this interior is available in a cream finish, which I think helps elevate it to more luxurious heights, but still, in this clean-cut black, it does look very nice. There's big chunks of leather padding splashed about, a big touchscreen, a digital instrument cluster, lovely leather seats, and there's just enough buttons to make things practical with your aircon controls down here. And everything's just really well screwed together, feels solid. And in terms of overall design, yes, I know design is subjective, but I think in terms of luxury standards, Mazda's done it. This does feel like a luxurious car. Kit levels are on the money too, with all CX-60s getting leather upholstery, heated seats, reversing camera and parking sensors, sat-nav, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, all sorts. So yeah, Mazda has done it from a kit point of view as well. And little things like the driver personalization program that it offers, which uses facial recognition to adjust to whatever driver is sat in the driver's seat, be it you, your partner or a colleague. Just little things like that make the car feel like an extension of you, which for luxury cars, you know, it is a big part of it, really. One thing that definitely is worth mentioning is that this 12.3-inch screen is not a touchscreen. It is controlled via a rotary dial down here. Now, in a world where everything is touchscreen operated, it might take a bit of getting used to. It'll take getting used to when you can and can't shift the rotary dial to the left and right, which menus do what, but all things considered, I think it is pretty easy to use and it's pretty intuitive. And I like the fact that if you go on the main menu, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to choose from, and that's it. And these little sub-menus will take you wherever you want to go, so it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. It's fairly practical in here as well. You've got a little storage thing down here for your phone, your wallet. It's also a wireless charging pad for your phone. Decent sized cup holders, got a bit of storage under this armrest. Decent sized door bins as well, and an okay glove box. Coming around to the back, you've got nice wide opening doors, which makes climbing over this big puddle very easy. Now once you're back here, space is in abundance. You've got loads of leg room and you've got tons of headroom. But you know what? I think the thing that impressed me most, when you're back here, the car feels absolutely huge. You do feel like, you know, when you look ahead to that cabin, you do feel like you're being chauffeured around. Now, you do get a bit of a hump in the middle here because of this transmission tunnel. This is a four-wheel drive car, but I think if you put your feet sort of angled like that, you can just about get away with being comfy in the middle, and you should be able to sit 3 people shoulder to shoulder quite easily. Now, a few things I like back here: you've got decent sized door bins for bottles and wrappers. You've also got a nice armrest that neatly snaps into place. I like that. You've also got 2 USB-C chargers, heated seats, and you've even got a proper plug socket. How good is that? Now, it is worth noting that we have got a few optional packs fitted to this car. I think it's the Comfort and Convenience pack. So it's definitely worth having a proper look at the spec sheet to see which features are bonus features of those packs, especially if you've got kids who like to charge things and plug the tablet and the phone in. Coming around to the booth, you can sweep the leg underneath to open it, which is always handy if you've got shopping and you haven't got a hand to spare. Now, there's 570 litres of space on offer with the seats in place, and up to 1,726 litres with the seats down. Now, that's massive, especially for an electrified vehicle that's got to accommodate batteries and stuff under the boot floor. You know, that's a really good size. I also like the fact that you get quick release levers for the seats. Just pop them very easily, the seats fly down and they do fold nice and flat if you give them a bit of encouragement. I also like that even if you don't use these at the back, folding those seats down is really easy just to do by hand. You can literally do it with your little finger, go like that, and they pop down very easily. I also really like this integrated parcel shelf you get here, which is attached to the boot, so it lifts out of your way when you open the boot. This is also really easy to take off. I took it off the other day. Really easy to take off and get out of the way. You also get some nice netting here for any loose shopping. You get a 12-volt adapter here, and you get another proper plug socket. And yeah, overall this boot is just a nice, square, usable size, low load lift. Yeah, it's great. So it's got a practical boot, it's got a swanky cabin, it's got a practical rear, and it looks good. It's just got to be good to drive now. So I just wanted to kick things off with a bit of a cruise on the motorway. Now, luxury cars set themselves apart with their effortless drive, the kind of comfy cruise where you can jump in, clock up several hundred miles, and still feel invigorated and unfatigued at the end of your journey. Now, I've clocked up quite a few lengthy stints in the CX-60, and unfortunately, I just don't think I can say the same about it. I mean, there are elements of its drive that I just can't ignore that make it feel tiring. First off, there's its cabin noise. Now, it's not massively intrusive by any means, but as you can hear, there's just constant tyre roar. Now, bigger SUV, bigger wheels, you're gonna get tyre roar, but I just don't remember it being that prominent in its BMW and Audi counterparts. Add to that its rather jarring regenerative braking, which slows you down and adds charge back into the battery the second you take your foot off the accelerator. And I just don't think the CX-60 feels that effortless to drive, not as effortless as its rivals do anyway. Now, it's not horrible to drive by any means, it just doesn't have that, oh, I've been driving for 5 hours and can't even tell vibe. So, in my opinion, it's not the same seamless motorway mile muncher as its German rivals, but surely everything starts to come together when you take it on a country road, right? I mean, the weightier steering definitely fills you with more confidence and makes you feel more connected to the car when you're going around corners, and also comes as four-wheel drive as standard, and the firm-ish suspension keeps body roll pretty well in check around corners. But there's still just something about it, like when you're on the motorway, that it just feels a bit tired and a bit heavy and sluggish. I can't quite put my finger on it. I think it's an amalgamation of small things. And I know I've said it before, but its BMW rivals just seem to do sporty and comfy a bit better. But what about its plug-in hybrid powertrain? Well, under the metal of the CX-60, there is a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine and an electric motor, which together put out 327 horsepower. Now, this motor is powered by a 17.8 kilowatt per hour battery. And it also has a 0 to 62 under 6 seconds, which is fast, especially for a car this size. Now, as this is a plug-in hybrid, you do get some limited all-electric driving available, up to 39 miles actually when you charge the battery up. And that takes around 2.5 to 3 hours from a standard home wallbox charger. And you know, you can choose to just drive in EV mode, which is great if you're nipping back and to work and you want to just try and use EV mode as much as possible. Or you can let the car decide when to choose between petrol and electric mode, you know, provided you've got electric charge in the battery. Now, the EV mode in the CX-60 is a bit weird. Now, with a lot of EVs and plug-in hybrids, the EV mode can be eerily quiet, but that's not the case in the CX-60. I mean, if you slow down safely, check your mirrors, maybe you can hear this. It's hard to pick up on the camera, but instead of a seamless EV drive, you get, it's hard to describe, it sounds like you're at home and someone's left the back door open or a window open and the wind's whistling, sort of like a like that in the background. You know, it's not a deal breaker by any means, but if you're buying a plug-in hybrid and you want that silent EV treatment, I don't think you're going to get it in the CX-60. Thankfully, the change from EV power to petrol power is quite seamless, and once you get up to speed and the petrol engine's working away and the 8-speed automatic gearbox is flicking through the gears, it's really smooth, especially at higher speeds. Of course, with this having a plug-in hybrid powertrain, company car drivers are going to benefit from the plug-in CX-60. Now, with official figures coming out at 33 grams per kilometre, company car drivers are looking at a low BAK tax bracket of just 12% for 2022 and 2023. So, the CX-60, lovely interior, practical all round, and plug-in hybrid efficiency. But the main talking point is probably going to be its driving dynamics. I mean, it's neither super finessed and sporty or effortless and comfortable. And personally, I think the compromise Mazda has gone for with the CX-60 doesn't quite work. I mean, yes, Mazda has made loads of progress on the interior side of things, but it's going to take more than that to compete with the big guns in the luxury car segment. I don't know, maybe it's time for Mazda to sideline some of that sporty DNA and be a bit more conservative. I mean, don't get me wrong, personally, I love the fact that Mazdas have got a bit about them. I like the fact that they don't conform to norms and they offer a bit of excitement behind the wheel. But maybe the luxury car segment is something you can't mess around with too much. And if Mazda continues to be typically Mazda, I don't know, maybe people are just going to default to one of its tried and tested rivals instead.